out on his own over there. We've seen the videos of his amazing workouts, in the off season. It's all going to depend on how he's feeling and how that foot's feeling and how he's doing. You want to win and clinch the number one seed on Sunday for sure. You want to have him fresh and available for the postseason, whether that's the wild card round or the divisional round. It's all going to come down to how he feels, how he looks on the field. And this isn't going to be just simply a Derrick, I'm ready to go decision. There's going to be, we may have to look for a puff of smoke coming up from St. Thomas Sports Park, for the idea. But if he is ready, if you think he's ready to go and play in a game, say they activate him before Wednesday's practice and he practices Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and, he's looking like the Derrick Henry we've all come to, expect, then you go ahead and activate him, because why not? You do have something you're playing for on Wednesday. There's no giving. You lost to the Texans the last time out. The Texans beat the Chargers 2 weeks ago. They pushed the 49ers yesterday. A team that you would think is just ready to hang it up and go into the offseason has been fighting. So you can't expect that you're going to go in there and they're going to roll over for you. So, it's going to be the thing that we watch the most this week, because if he can knock some rust off, so to speak, and then you get a bye, then you've given him 2 weeks to rest up and continue practicing and getting into the groove. And then, guys, I'm going to go back to this. Timing does matter. You've been having success with your run game. The numbers are kind of eerie. The one big difference, though, with Derrick Henry, you've got 10 touchdowns. Yeah. They scored, I think, 6 rushing touchdowns, and I think 4 of those are, whatever. A bunch of them are coming from Ryan Tannehill. So, that's the thing. You do get a benefit with Derrick Henry when he is Derrick Henry on the field, and that's where the decision's going to revolve around. How healthy is he? Is the timing there? Is the chemistry? Is he Derrick Henry, 22, the stiff-arming kind of guy we're used to? And that's the, I don't even want to say $1 million decision. That's the $1 trillion decision for this franchise coming up this week.
We're on with Teresa Walker. You can follow her at Teresa M. Walker. She covers the Grizz. You can follow the Grizz covers. She tweets about food when she goes to Memphis. You will want to read those tweets. And lots of other great things on her Twitter. As Blaine said, she's also a Hall of Famer, and she's on with us now.
Yes, T, I guess you've been in all the interviews. I haven't been in any every year that Vrabel's been here. I'm going to kind of ask you a question, what you think he would prefer in this thought process on Henry. If he is fully healthy, do you think Vrabel would actually play him in a preseason, let's get our feet wet role and see how much we can get out of you and see how your foot responds after having, let's say, 10 carries in the last game versus the Texans? If he's fully healthy, what do you think he would do?
That's a great question, Blaine, because what we've seen Mike Vrabel do, from his very first game, that horrible weather-delayed longest game ever in the NFL game in Miami, Taylor Lewan had a concussion. And he told him, it's like, you're not playing this next week. Just get over the concussion. And we've seen that over his 4 seasons, that if a guy is injured, be safe rather than sorry. Go ahead and give him another week. You think you're good, 1 more week to be sure, which, makes me think that, they might just activate Derrick Henry to practice, but let him not play on Sunday so that you can give him the extra time before a playoff game to get healthy and to be at his best. So, that's based on past history, would lean to Derrick Henry not playing Sunday. But then again, we're talking about a situation where you can clinch the number 1 seed and avoid a trip to Kansas City. Shoot, I think the Buffalo Bills would have a chance. If the Titans lose on Sunday, maybe it's Buffalo who ends up with the 1 seed. You want them coming through Nashville, and that might be the reason that you do go ahead and play a Derrick Henry. So, again, we're going to be watching this all throughout, because that push-pull, it's a real thing. And, I'm going to go back. The health of Derrick Henry is going to be key. When we found out that they used a plate and 5 screws to do the repair, Pro Football Doc on Twitter was the first, I think, to say, usually this is a 6 to 8 week thing. Think closer to 10 weeks. And Sunday will be 10 weeks from the day he hurt that foot. So, that's it. Guys, I wish I could give you a definite, yes, he's going to play Sunday, no, he's not. But we're just going to have to watch this day by day.
Well, with Teresa Walker, Hall of Fame sports writer, and I guess that leads me to this. With all the turnover in the lineup, whether it was injuries, COVID, you name it, who is the MVP of the Tennessee Titans this season? Ooh.
Guys, I'm going to give you a name that you're probably, is coming a little bit out of left field, but I'm going to say Ryan Tannehill. And the reason is this. He's been the guy who's been in the field. Yes, he's been sacked repeatedly. Yes, he's had, a bunch more interceptions than he's had in the last couple of seasons with this team. But he's been there. He's been in the lineup. He's the guy who drove them down the field to come back against the 49ers when they were down 10 at halftime. He's been the guy who's been getting the ball down the field. And, this run game, Derrick Henry, really took off when he got Ryan Tannehill in that backfield with him because of his quick decision-making and, his ability to run as well and execute the play action game. So I'm going to lean to him. Now, of course, you have, several options there for the backup. Kevin Byard with his 5 interceptions, Harold Landry, who's now up to, I think, 12 sacks or so. I'm losing count. D'Amico Autry's had a big impact. So, there's, 88 players have played this season, and you could look at each one and say that they've contributed a piece. But I'm still going to go to the fact that you've had Ryan Tannehill week in, week out, and he's answered the bell for you on each occasion. And, you don't win 11 games without Ryan Tannehill. I'm just saying that.
Well, one more tough question, and only you can answer this, T, is if you dress, let's say Henry doesn't play until the playoffs. What running back isn't dressing?
At this point, I'm probably not dressing Dontrell Hilliard. I know that he returned a kickoff yesterday, but, let's face it, Deontay Foreman has 3 100-yard rushing games for this team. Now, he's very similar to Derrick Henry, but, so maybe you go with Hilliard because he's got the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, but you also have Jeremy McNichol for that. So the idea of being able to pound somebody with Henry and Foreman, that's awfully attractive if you ask me.
Cool. We're on with the best. Yes, Teresa Walker, the Hall of Fame sports writer.
Amen to that. Teresa, let's talk about Julio Jones. I think a lot of people were hoping maybe he would be in that MVP candidacy for the Titans, and it just hasn't come about. Teresa, when he plays, he doesn't seem to get a lot of action, and then a lot of times he just doesn't play. What do you think we see from him possibly in this last week or leading into the playoffs? And what would it take for you to say that was worth every penny from Julio at this point on?
If he catches a key pass in any playoff game, I'm going to say that it was worth every penny. Because, guys, if that's the thing, they made this trade. They could have, maybe coughed up the money for Corey Davis or signed somebody else, but they went to get Julio Jones because, anyone remember what he did in that Super Bowl game for the Falcons? He put them in position to win a championship. It wasn't his fault that the play calling wasn't so great and they ended up blowing the 28-3 lead. Julio Jones was a huge key in that game. And so if he can catch a pass that, gets them a touchdown, gets them a key first down, puts them in position, that's the thing that's going to be key for this team moving forward because, let's face it, I still maintain that the trade was made to help them most in the postseason. Guys, last year against the Baltimore Ravens, let's not forget, Corey Davis was hurt in that second half. It allowed them to kind of double team on A.J. Brown, and that allowed the Ravens defense to focus on shutting down Derrick Henry, and they did to win that playoff game. With Julio Jones on the field, it's tough to double A.J. Brown because if you do, there is Julio. And, now the challenge is he's been on the COVID list. We're waiting for him to be reactivated. But if they can get the bye, that's good for Julio Jones as well as the Tennessee Titans.
Can you believe that this team has never won back-to-back division titles since 60, 61, and 62?
It is weird, right? But, I also I remember the 2001 season, and, that was a tough year where, after 2002 or the 2000 season, the expectations were that this team was just going to keep rolling. And, Eddie George had the toe injury and, they didn't quite make it. And in 99, you go 13-3, you'd think that'd be a division year, and no, the Jaguars had a little bit better season.
Yeah.
So so yes, you would like to think this franchise has done it more, but here's another number for you. If the Titans do win the number 1 seed on Sunday, will be only the 3rd time they've done that since moving to Tennessee. So 2000, 2008. And I guess at this point, you're just hoping if you're the Titans, you're not seeing the Ravens again in the postseason.
Oh, Teresa Walker, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey, bringing up the Ravens like that.
Yeah, bringing heat like that. Yeah, T. I appreciate you, though, always. Who was the bigger find? And the reason what made me think about this on the Titans roster is because now they lost Pruitt. They got to find another big find, maybe a tight end. I don't know if it's on the roster or change of role or picking someone off the practice squad or, someone that's sitting out there on the couch. But who existing on the roster, and we all know the running backs, what they're doing, but kind of give us a list of guys who you say, hey, they had some huge roles in it and they really impacted the team, whether it was big or small.
Well, Austin Fort, actually, Blaine, is on the practice squad as we speak.
Yeah.
6'4", 244 pounds, and this is his 3rd NFL season. So he's got some experience, and he's been with this team. So probably the guy that they turn to first to help fill that spot, because, at this point, it's getting a little thin. The fact that you were able to sign Deontay Foreman, off his couch on November, I think, 2nd, and he's come in here and done what he's done is pretty impressive. To try to find somebody in January, that's even more challenging, I'm just saying.
Well, I kind of have a blind eye to this question, and that is because of my experience. And that is every time I had a bye week in the first round being a number 1 seed, I lost. Our teams lost that next game, the second game, which was winning their first game, our first game in the playoffs. A lot of people brought up this question, is having a bye week really the same or different than a bye week in the regular season?
Well, Blaine, I do remember those losses after the byes.
And I
thought I was going to the Super Bowl in 2000. I'll just say.
Me too.
I think we all did, Teresa.
And, by the way, I want to throw the stat at you. You can check it if you want, because I'm not sure if I'm all the way right. I'm guessing how many Super Bowl champions won and had a bye the first round. I think it's only one, but I'm not sure.
Actually, I think to get to the Super Bowl, though, more teams over the last few years have benefited from having a bye. So I haven't had a chance to see the.
No.
Kansas City did.
They one time. That's the one.
Yes. So that's the most recent. So recency bias, I'm going to say it doesn't hurt. But I can't remember. I think it was Music City Miracle Mike something. And I apologize for not remembering his Twitter handle. But he had the stat this morning. The Titans with Mike Vrabel coming off of any bye, bye week, Thursday night game, that they're like 8-0 under Mike Vrabel in those situations. So they find a way to make that time off work for them, rest up, heal up, hone in on an opponent and really coach guys up and get them ready for those games. So at this point, Blaine, the past is the past. You can only deal with the present and the future. And for this team, I'm just going to say that a bye week wouldn't do them a bad thing.